Tonight on CTV News, protecting places of worship.
It's a day of hope and one step in the right direction.
How new legislation will create bubble zones around places of worship as the Jewish community is on heightened alert. And closing arguments in the trial of 3 men accused of murdering a couple in their Abbotsford home. What defense is saying about DNA evidence.
It's peeling off, and obviously that shouldn't be happening on a legitimate bill.
Can you spot the fake? Police warn of a spike in counterfeit bills circulating in the economy.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A robbery gone wrong. That is how one defense lawyer is describing what happened to an Abbotsford couple found dead in their home. It is part of their closing arguments in the trial of 3 men accused of murdering the de Jongs, violence that Crown says was motivated by debt and greed. CTV's Michelle Bernaro reports and a warning about some of the graphic details.
Inside a BC Supreme Court room, Abhijit Singh, Kushveer Toor and Gurcharan Singh are on trial for first-degree murder. They have pleaded not guilty. The de Jongs, both in their 70s, were found dead in their home in May of 2022, their hands and feet tied with rope, Arnold's head and face tightly wrapped in duct tape. Andrew Cochrane, a lawyer for Abhijit Singh, told court that his client does acknowledge some degree of moral culpability. Cochrane says it's accepted evidence may establish advanced knowledge of a home invasion. Cochrane admits his client also bought a bat that Joanne de Jong's DNA was later found on, that he used Arnold de Jong's stolen credit card and likely sold a pressure washer taken from the home. But Cochrane says there is no evidence Mr. Singh was present at the scene the night of the killings and that his phone was more than 50 kilometers away during the window of opportunity identified as when the crimes unfolded. He also said that what most likely occurred here is a robbery gone wrong, which resulted in homicide. Cochrane says at most his client was a planner and provider of materials, but not a principal actor of the crime, and that the highest available finding on the evidence is manslaughter, not murder. Crown argues the accused had done cleaning work at the de Jongs' home and alleged the trio was motivated by debt and greed.
Meanwhile, defense for Toor has been challenging the reliability of DNA evidence. The defense lawyers will continue their closing submissions on Tuesday. Michelle Bernaro, CTV News, Abbotsford.
The NDP is introducing measures to create bubble zones around places of worship so people won't be subject to disruptive protests or harassment. This comes in the middle of escalating hate and violence towards the Jewish community. CTV's Rob Buffum has the story.
Backstopped by religious leaders and in the shadow of attacks in Ontario, shots being fired at 3 synagogues in the Toronto area in the past week, the Premier announced new legislation Monday aimed at making places of worship safer in BC.
Everybody be able to pray and worship as they wish and to do so without harassment and intimidation.
The bills extend the protections around schools brought in 2023. Protections that created a safe zone extending 20 meters beyond school properties. A response to protests and rallies opposing the NDP's sexual orientation and gender identity program.
We have made the decision to extend the protections under this law to 2028. Recognizing that teachers and families and students attending school deserve to be able to attend school safely.
The new laws also expand those same protections to religious locations, including mosques, synagogues, temples, and churches, prohibiting, at risk of arrest or fine, certain behaviors in safe zones around such places of worship.
This includes physically obstructing access to that place of worship, attempting to persuade people not to go into the building, or purposefully disrupting activities occurring at this site.
Victoria Police said they increased patrols at Victoria's synagogues this weekend following the string of violence in Ontario. And while BC has not recently endured similar levels of violence, leaders in the Jewish community say there has been a spike in attacks.
There's no question the last 2 years there's been some concerning events, mostly nationally but also locally. Wants to ensure that people who go for house of worship, they will feel that they are not intimidated and they are not targets of hate.
And Rob, Rob joins us live from Victoria. Rob, if they're passed in the legislature, how long are these laws expected to stay in place?
Well, Mi-Jung, as I mentioned, in relation to schools, that's been extended by 2 years. They were set to sunset right about now, so those will stay in place now until 2028 if they pass. And in relation to places of worship, that legislation would be in place until 2030. The government also noted today that in order for a place of worship to be subject to those laws, they'd have to erect a sign outside of the facility indicating as such. Mi-Jung.
Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria. Breaking news, a family of a 12-year-old girl who was hospitalized after the mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge has filed a civil claim against artificial intelligence company OpenAI. Lauren Pullen is following this in the Breaking News Center. Lauren, what do we know?
Mi-Jung, the suit was filed today on behalf of Maya Gabala's family, alleging that OpenAI had specific knowledge of the shooter utilizing ChatGPT to plan a mass casualty event like the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting. 12-year-old Maya was shot in the head and neck in the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting on February 10th and is still in Children's Hospital fighting serious injuries tonight. The lawsuit alleges OpenAI's chatbot ChatGPT was used by the shooter as a trusted confidant, collaborator, and ally, and it behaves willingly to assist users such as the shooter to plan a mass casualty event. OpenAI did inform RCMP after Jessie Van Rootselaar killed 8 people before turning the gun on herself, telling Mounties the killer had a ChatGPT account that had been shut down. It also said later that she had got banned around having a second account. A statement of defense has yet to be filed. Mi-Jung.
Thanks for this update, Lauren. In Mission, a 39-year-old man is back in custody after a compliance check turned into a drug trafficking investigation and ended with a major bust. Mission RCMP released this photo showing drugs, imitation weapons, and stolen IDs seized after executing a search warrant at the man's home last month. Investigators were there to check whether he was following his release conditions. He's now facing multiple possession-related charges. Pride groups across BC are banding together, demanding that outspoken MLA Tara Armstrong resign. They say they are deeply disturbed by her actions and appalled by misinformation about the transgender community. As CTV's St. John Alexander reports, a letter has been sent to every elected official in legislature calling for her censure.
Tara, can I ask you a quick question? Tara Armstrong didn't say much when questioned by reporters, but confirmed she's not going anywhere.
Are you going to
resign like the rest?
I must go. No.
From Vancouver to Prince George to Langley, 17 pride groups have signed this letter, arguing Ms. Armstrong has failed to meet the basic standards of integrity, pointing first to her failed attempt to repeal the Human Rights Code.
To even think that that would have been questioned or thought to be brought into the legislature is abhorring.
The independent MLA insisted her bill was designed to protect free speech because she says people were being punished unfairly for speaking their mind.
It is a deeply disturbing bill that she brought forward to repeal our Human Rights Code. I understand why people are having a reaction to that.
Armstrong has always been outspoken, fighting for what she believes is right.
Well, obviously the NDP government supports discrimination as long as it punishes people that the far left says are evil. Like white people, for instance.
After the Tumbler Ridge shooting posted online a disproven theory about transgender violence.
She's a representative of her own personal opinions and perhaps a small group that may have strong opinions based in misunderstanding and or hatred.
The letter has been sent to every MLA in the House, calling for Armstrong to be censured. They also want her resignation.
I'm not working with Tara anymore, but that doesn't mean that we don't often vote the same way in the House.
And you do not think she should resign or be censured?
No, not at all.
It's also unlikely there is a mechanism in BC to have anyone censured.
Were your social media comments, were they hateful towards the trans community?
Absolutely not. I love everybody. I'm not hateful toward anybody. I believe children need to be protected.
Armstrong was duly elected and plans to stay. Voters who don't like it have the option of recalling their MLA. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Coquihalla Highway is open again after several crashes yesterday forced a temporary closure, but a snowfall warning remains in effect. The collisions happened near the Helmer Road exit between Hope and Merritt. According to our CMP, luckily no one was injured. The busy road was temporarily closed over concerns about unsafe road conditions. As heavy snowfall continues to batter the highway, drivers are being encouraged to avoid the route if possible. And let's go outside now. It's 6:09 and we still see some blue sky. Here's a shot from Grouse Mountain looking downtown. Maybe a little less blue sky tomorrow.
A lot less and a lot more white stuff falling from the sky. Yeah, beautiful day today. Hope you're able to get outside and enjoy it. The Coquihalla Highway, a warning is still in effect with 15 to 20 centimeters of snow through this evening. And we have a special weather statement in effect for the South Coast. West Vancouver Island as well as Metro Vancouver will see anywhere between 2 to 5 centimeters of snow for your early morning commute before it transitions over into rain. For Howe Sound, Sea to Sky Highway up to Whistler, 5 to 15 centimeters of snow. So give yourself extra time tomorrow morning for your early morning commute. The messy, wintry mix will start tomorrow morning. Overcast skies tonight, dropping down to 1. And tomorrow will be a cold one, 4 degrees. The rain-snow mix will transition over into showers as we head into tomorrow afternoon.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
And we expect a very messy morning mix for tomorrow as well as Wednesday morning before things warm up. I've got those details coming up.
So we can't say that this is a winter without snow, probably.
Well, we'll see how much falls at the airport because that's what counts. Because if it falls Heritage Mountains, SFU, that will not count, unfortunately.
Okay, and yeah, we do have these different microclimates. Okay, we'll see what happens. Thanks, Anne.
Welcome.
A former reporter who spent decades covering Vancouver City Hall is making the transition into politics.
This is kind of my last shot to do something like this, and I see it as a capstone project where I take all the knowledge I've acquired over 30 years of covering the city, and I try and put it to more effective use.
Frances Beulah announced this morning that she's seeking a nomination under the One City Party. Beulah says her priorities are fixing housing, supporting small business, and improving public safety. William Azaroff, who won the One City leadership race, supports her bid, describing her as a powerhouse who can help challenge Ken Sim and the ABC Party. Police in Metro Vancouver and around the province are warning about a spike in the number of counterfeit money making the rounds. And as CTV's Peter Bremner reports, the fake bills are high quality.
Fake bills such as these are showing up more and more on the North Shore.
We've noticed since the 1st of January 2026, we've had an uptick in reports of counterfeit $50s and $100 bills. We've had 11 reports to date.
Nanaimo RCMP say they've had 17 reports of counterfeit money being passed to businesses in the past 2 months. It's happening in New Westminster as well.
To date this year, we've seen 10 files reported to us involving counterfeit currency, which is surprising given that we only had 2 in the same period of last year.
The fake bills are predominantly $50 and $100 denominations.
These reports have come to us from the casino, grocery stores, jewelry stores, and banks.
It's been a growing problem across the country. According to RCMP, nearly 47,000 counterfeit bills were seized in 2024. Last year, that tripled to 143,000. In BC, statistics show 751 counterfeit banknotes were seized in 2024. Last year, that skyrocketed to more than 27,000.
Knowing that there's counterfeit currency out there and that the numbers are increasing is very concerning.
We just want to make sure that the public's aware of this and businesses are aware of it and that they're very diligent when they're taking in $50 or $100 bills.
Last month, CTV News reported on fake cash being used in a Facebook marketplace sale. A Surrey man selling a laptop was out $1,800. While the bills might look legitimate at first glance, side by side with a real one, the differences become obvious. A lack of detail in the images, variations in color, and a different feel. Another common flaw? The holographic strip down the side.
If you actually see this hologram here, which is on all $50 and $100 bills, it's peeling off, and obviously that shouldn't be happening on a legitimate bill.
Police are encouraging anyone handling cash to make sure they're familiar with the security features. As for what to do if you get a fake bill,
given the numbers that we're seeing being on the rise, there are likely people out there that are in possession of counterfeit money that they obtained legitimately. They just don't know what to do with it. So we'd encourage them to report it to us.
Peter Bremner, CTV News, New Westminster.
The province held a roundtable discussion today with some of BC's leaders in women's health care. And while BC continues its expansion of access, there is still more work that can be done.
I was particularly struck around the conversation around misinformation and disinformation and ensuring that all people have access to credible sources of information and are encouraged to use them.
The discussion was held today as a part of Women's Health Research Month. BC is continuing its expansion of access to treatment and services such as IVF, the complex menopause clinic, and cervix self-screening kits. But experts agree that access to proper information still needs to be improved, calling misinformation a health crisis itself. Fleeing from war, we hear from a Vancouver man who traveled to Turkey to be reunited with his family getting out of Iran. Also ahead.
It's really a very unhealthy ecosystem right now.
Back to nature, the park board considers a costly plan to overhaul Stanley Park's Lost Lagoon, but is it worth it? When CTV News at 6 continues, stay with us. Tonight, the Vancouver Park Board will vote on a plan that would reconnect Lost Lagoon to seawater on both sides, restoring it to its natural tidal state. While there are benefits for the ecosystem, it would dramatically change the look of the lagoon. And as CTV's Shannon Patterson reports, not everyone thinks it's worth the $30 million price tag.
For more than a century, Lost Lagoon has been a freshwater lake at the entrance to Stanley Park. But 110 years ago, it was connected to the ocean.
1916, it was cut off when the causeway was built. It was really separated off to create a recreational water body for, people to drive their little boats on. It was really created for the use of humans, not really thinking about the ecosystem.
Over the years, sediment has built up at the bottom of the lagoon, impacting water depth and quality.
We've seen algae blooms, fish die-offs, so it's really a very unhealthy ecosystem right now.
Tonight, the park board will vote on a $30 million plan that would reconnect Lost Lagoon to seawater at Second Beach and Cole Harbour.
It's a great opportunity to improve our natural ecosystems in the city and to bring back habitat that's been lost for over 100 years.
It will solve some of the sedimentation and, of course, the water quality issues.
But returning the lagoon to its natural tidal state would be a dramatic change.
Nowadays, you walk by there and of course, there's waterfowl and things like that in there. Those will disappear because during the tidal cycle, that lagoon will be pretty much empty of water. It won't look like Lost Lagoon. It's going to look like a mud flat twice a day, which means most of the waterfowl will leave because they don't like to hang out and wait for the water to come back.
If commissioners approve the reconnection plan, the park board will need to find a way to pay for it.
Part of the direction to staff is to collaborate with these federal and provincial bodies to find funding opportunities.
Given the current fiscal conditions, both federally and provincially, I just really can't see this being highly attractive to them. I can think of a lot of other projects that would come way ahead of this one in my mind.
But the park board chair believes it's money well spent.
I think everybody wants to see more habitat and natural ecosystems in our parks. So I think this really is a project that I think a lot of people can get behind. If we can get the province and the federal government behind this as well, I think it's really a project that could succeed.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Big changes could be coming to Queen Elizabeth Park. Park board staff are recommending a plan to build some new nature-based attractions. A Vancouver-based company called Greenheart and several partners have proposed a 120-meter zip line and 300-meter-long tree canopy walkways in the park. There would also be a visitors center and food and beverage services. The new attractions would be privately funded, and there would be revenue sharing with the park board. If commissioners give the plan the green light, work is expected to begin this summer. We will have the latest on the war in the Middle East and how it's sending local gas prices skyrocketing also.
I just need to meet them here safe. That's it.
We talked to a BC man who flew to Turkey to meet his family fleeing Iran, among hundreds desperate to get to safety. That's ahead. Video shows protesters shouting, "Save our girls," as Iran's soccer team left the Women's Asian Cup in Australia last night. Some members of the squad refused to sing their country's national anthem before their first match. Iran lost its last group match to South Korea and now face returning home to a country at war. But Australia has granted asylum to 5 members of the team. Iran has named a new supreme leader and launched a fresh round of attacks on Israel and other Gulf states as the war in the Middle East rages on. Throngs of people took to the streets to celebrate the choice of Mojtaba Khamenei to succeed his late father. The 56-year-old was named Ayatollah by Iran's Assembly of Experts. 10 days into the war, officials say the death toll has surpassed 1,200 in Iran, nearly 400 in Lebanon, and 11 in Israel. At the border between Turkey and Iran, family members wait for arrivals of those leaving the country under siege. Among them, one Canadian father from here in Vancouver, eagerly anticipating the appearance of his wife and daughters. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has the story.
An ominous black flag blows in the wind on the Iranian side of the Kapakau border crossing, a towering symbol marking a time of mourning for Iran's late supreme leader. On the ground on the Turkish side of the border crossing, war-weary travelers make their way down this long pedestrian passage as they walk towards freedom.
Super risky, you know?
This Canadian father flew all the way from Vancouver, desperate to reunite with his wife and 2 young daughters caught in the conflict after they went to visit a sick relative in Iran.
I just need to meet them here safe. That's it.
What will it mean to you to be able to hug your children again?
I don't need anything. I don't want anything in my whole life. I just want to hug them. That's it.
It's been like more than 3 hours that I'm staying here waiting for my aunt. I'm feeling it.
Mohammed Asadi flew from Germany to wait for his aunt, a Canadian from British Columbia, who spent the last 10 days trapped in Tehran as airstrikes rained down.
It makes us human beings to be with your family, to help your family when they are in need.
If you're willing to wait. A team of Canadian consular officers are also on the ground, offering assistance to those making this precarious passage.
The communications are down, the internet is down, so it's very challenging for anyone inside Iran to communicate outside of the country.
This is what many are fleeing. New video today inside Tehran's Shahran oil depot, an apocalyptic scene, following a wave of U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. And confirmation that for a second time, NATO has shot down an Iranian missile as it entered Turkish airspace. This as the foreign minister for Iran's supreme leader warns of a long, painful war.
What is important for us is the end of this game. And we are ready to continue that game.
Thank you, Milan.
As global powers posture,
We're gonna go home, Vancouver. It's our home.
On this day, a moment of humanity, a Canadian family reunited.
To see him standing there waiting for you, what did that moment mean to you?
Yeah, it's everything. I'm alive for this moment.
To have your daughter back in your arms and you're heading home to Canada.
Peace, home. 2 words.
High five.
Canadians helping Canadians.
When I met you here,
huge relief, huh? Though some are left waiting into the night, Iranian border agents won't let Assadi's aunt cross with her Canadian passport.
Now she's a lady alone on that side of border in this cold weather.
While some are homeward bound, others wait, hoping a new day will reunite them with their loved ones. Relief for many, heartache for others. The tension here at this border crossing is palpable. The U.S. has raised its travel security alert due to a heightened risk of terrorism and armed conflict right here at this location. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Van Province, Turkey.
As the conflict in the Middle East continues, gas prices here in Metro Vancouver continue to skyrocket. Some gas stations have posted prices at just under $1.88 a litre for regular gas, as attacks on Iran from the U.S. and Israel have disrupted tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil supply passes. Gas prices across BC could climb another 10 to 20 cents per litre, But as the war rages on, there's concern about how high gas prices could go.
As long as that threat remains, prices will continue to escalate, sometimes more rapidly and on certain days in certain regions of the world, more rapidly than others. But there's really no end to where this price will go. Short of the United States and other countries coming together to release part of their strategic petroleum reserves where they can, it's really only a temporary fix. The longer this goes, the sky is the limit.
Gas Buddy data shows the price of gas hasn't reached more than $1.85 a litre in Metro Vancouver since a brief spike in September of last year. Major backlash after the city of Calgary provides funding for an artist who has to use artificial intelligence. Why the job is sparking outrage.
It was at that point guys started calling family saying goodbye. People were crying. It was an emotional time.
And a terrifying ordeal for ice fishers when a large piece of ice broke off and drifted away. The dramatic rescue ahead on CTV News at 6. Our weather day across Metro Vancouver saw some areas with blue sky and sunshine, while others saw bursts of snow. And forecasters say there could be even more of it on the way. Here are a few shots from the North Shore today. Big flakes coming down. Parts of Coquitlam and Burnaby also saw snow, though it didn't last long. A special weather statement is in effect for Metro Vancouver, with flurries expected to return tonight in the 2 to 5 centimeter range. And there is another chance of snow again on Wednesday. This North Van resident says better late than never.
I love it. I love it. It's missed it, and but I hope it doesn't last long. A few days of this is perfect.
We're probably going to see a lot of a rinse and repeat again for tomorrow, to be perfectly honest with you. The freezing level may be a little bit lower tomorrow, and it may be a little bit more continuous sort of precipitation first thing in the morning. But in general terms, sporadic is still probably the order of the day.
Drivers are being urged to leave extra time in the morning as conditions may be slippery in some areas. And Anne, of course, I think the skiers will be very happy. They really missed the snow this winter.
Yeah, definitely better late than never, as they mentioned. So, yeah, one last kick at the ski hills before it turns into spring for sure. So, yes, special weather statement in place for Vancouver Island as well as Metro Vancouver. 2 to 5 centimeters of snow expected before it transitions over into showers tomorrow. So higher elevations could see the higher amounts. And for the Sunshine Coast Howe Sound, Sea to Sky Highway, anywhere between 5 to 15 centimeters of snow. That's through the day into tomorrow night. Also, a snowfall warning in effect for the Coquihalla Highway through this evening. You'll see anywhere between 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. So it's all because of this really unsettled cold air mass across the south coast. As you can see, some spotty flurries in parts of Vancouver Island and Metro Vancouver as we head through this evening into tomorrow morning. This is what we can expect for your early morning commute. As you can see, you have widespread snow at higher elevations. You'll see that rain-snow mix and near sea level. We will still see some showers continuing through the afternoon. We will transition over to showers, slowly drying up as we head into tomorrow night. You'll see some early morning sunshine with some flurries through the afternoon for the central interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. A wintry mix for Port Hardy at 5 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies with the rain-snow mix, warming up to 9s for Campbell River and Comox. That's what you can expect for the South Island from Tofino right down to Victoria. Temperatures between 6 and 7 degrees. For the Sunshine Coast, 6 degrees. You'll see a snow transition over to showers. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish at 3. Light snow for Whistler, 2 degrees. And for us across the lower mainland, a messy mix to start off your early morning commute. Transitions over to showers through the afternoon. Temperatures between 4 and 6 degrees. Same story for Wednesday, but in the afternoon it'll be rain with a high of 6. On Thursday, we'll start off cloudy. Rain returns in the afternoon, 7 degrees. Cloudy with showers on Friday. Clears up just in time for the weekend on Saturday under a mix of sun and cloud and 8 degrees. It'll be soggy for Sunday, and then on Monday, warming up to 9 degrees with steady rain. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So yes, leave earlier, especially if you live at higher elevations tomorrow for that commute.
I know you usually walk to work.
Yeah.
Are you going to walk?
Of course, I walk every day.
Put
Snow,
your boots
rain,
on?
I'm like a postal worker.
Bundle up then.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Anne.
You're welcome.
The Calgary Public Library is facing criticism after a call for artists to apply to a residency program, but only if they use artificial intelligence in their work. Local artists are crying foul over the initiative, citing environmental and unethical concerns. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
Charles Akobsovich has been a graphic designer for more than 2 decades. He creates comic publications and illustrations focused around ghost towns in Alberta. But a post by the Calgary Public Library encouraging the use of AI in artistry late last month has him and others disillusioned.
That post was very disheartening, very demoralizing. It doesn't, to me, fit the mandate of what I'd expect from my public institutions.
The library is seeking a local artist who utilizes AI technology ethically. It wants someone who has used AI as a tool, collaborator, or in the creation of original work.
AI, like I said, by its definition, seeks to remove the artist completely from the art.
There are many perspectives on artificial intelligence as it relates to different disciplines, and so we're hoping to learn what this means for the creativity and arts community.
It's a 10-week residency, and the artist will be compensated $50 per hour, up to a maximum of $8,000. But artists like Akobsovich says AI is an unethical way to create art, and that the money should be spent on what he calls authentic work.
Opportunity is already very slim. They're not always, we have a lot of artists, especially younger artists as well coming up, are seeing opportunities being more and more rare.
We do have other programming that we're planning for other parts of the year to roll out.
While the library is defending the proposal, Calgary's mayor shares the concerns from the artistic community.
You don't need ChatGPT to tell you why that's a bad idea. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why we would be going down that direction, and it was the first time I learned of it this morning, but I think it's a terrible idea. It sets a bad precedent, and I'll be asking some questions of the Calgary Public Library and their board.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Falling rents, which Metro Vancouver City is seeing the sharpest decline. Also,
I felt betrayed, and I felt like she didn't do the job that she was paid to do.
A warning about people posing as mortgage brokers. A woman has lost $85,000 and now she could lose her home. That's ahead.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch, driving over the Port Mann Bridge from Surrey to Coquitlam under dark, heavy clouds.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for $73.67 US. Oil was up nearly $4, closing the day at $94.77 a barrel. Gold lost nearly $55 on the day. The TSX was up 105 points. Dow Jones up 239. A new national rent report shows BC is leading the country in rental price declines, with average rents dropping nearly 5% across the province. The findings by rentals.ca show asking rents in BC are nearly 12% below their 2023 peak. Vancouver rents fell more than 7% year over year, marking the largest drop among Canada's biggest cities. New Westminster saw the biggest decline in the province at almost 13%. The report also found that across Canada, rent prices have fallen to a 33-month low. There are new warnings tonight for anyone considering taking out a mortgage. A consumer protection agency says some companies are accepting mortgage deposits without being licensed to do so. One woman says she handed over $85,000 for a down payment, but the money vanished. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
You had one job to do that you got paid to do, and you didn't fulfill that.
Randy Solomon of Scarborough says 2 years ago her father was having health issues and she had fallen behind on her mortgage payments. She decided to deposit $85,000 on her mortgage and found someone who said they could complete the transaction.
The money didn't go where it's supposed to go. That's a lot of money.
Solomon says she gave the funds to Diane Van Rossum. She thought Van Rossum was a mortgage broker, but when she contacted the Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario, FSRA, she was told Van Rossum was not licensed. The $85,000 bank draft was cashed, but is now missing.
When I found out it didn't go to the right place, I was angry. I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed, and I felt like she didn't do the job that she was paid to do.
FSRA just issued a statement warning consumers not to do business with Diane Van Rossum, saying she's not licensed to conduct mortgage brokering in Ontario, and she has accepted funds but didn't deposit them to process a mortgage. FSRA says anyone seeking mortgage advice or services needs to make sure they're dealing with a licensed professional.
I would encourage consumers to ask a lot of questions of the mortgage broker that they're working with. Mortgages are not easy products.
Solomon says the $85,000 was to help her keep her home. Without it, she's worried she could lose it.
The situation is still the same. My home is still up for foreclosure.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
McDonald's has been the butt of the McJoke lately after video of its CEO trying one of his own burgers went viral for the wrong reasons. But it turns out even bad publicity can be good for business.
That is so good.
McDonald's posted the video of CEO Chris Kempczinski taste testing the Big Arch, which just rolled out in the U.S. But the company is getting fried online for his less than enthusiastic bite, including one person commenting that it looks like he's eating the burger as if he's a contestant on Fear Factor. It's even prompted other fast food chains to get in on the beef, making their own videos with a bigger bite. But one marketing expert says this burger battle may actually be good for McDonald's.
McDonald's, it did not plan for it to go viral in this direction, that other CEOs would come and mock them. But every time the story is mentioned, McDonald's is at the center of the story.
The Big Arch was available in Canada for a limited time in 2024, but the video has resulted in a demand for it to return north of the border. Still ahead, on thin ice, a dramatic rescue in Ontario after 23 people were left stranded when the ice they were fishing on drifted away from shore. Plus, pet portraits. Adam finds out the story behind a back alley transformed by animal art. Next on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
In the age of AI, what responsibilities do these big tech companies have to do the right thing? Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, as OpenAI prepares to apologize to the community of Tumbler Ridge, a closer look at companies' duty to report. Does government need to have tougher regulations? Plus, the World Cup is coming. We're getting reaction from transit advocates on TransLink's plan to handle the massive influx of passengers. We'll see you in the morning.
Here come the Jackets on a 2-on-1. It's Carter Garland closing in. He fires. He scores!
Former Vancouver Canuck Connor Garland is already looking right at home with his new team, scoring a pair of goals this afternoon for the Columbus Blue Jackets. No doubt a relief for Garland, who hadn't scored since way back on December 16th. Meanwhile, here in Vancouver, the Canucks start an 8-game homestand tonight against the Ottawa Senators. Puck drop is just after 7. Some dramatic video from Ontario over the weekend showing a number of people trapped on ice that had broken away in Georgian Bay.
Water's opening up. Ice is opening.
23 people had to be rescued off of the bay near Owen Sound yesterday just before noon. 2 police helicopters and an air ambulance were sent to the scene. The group was fishing on the lake when a large piece of the ice broke off and drifted about 2 kilometers offshore.
It was at that point guys started calling family, saying goodbye. People were crying. It was an emotional time. And I think what really built on that is seeing other grown men crying, you know, calling, saying goodbye to their daughters, saying goodbye to their families.
Roughly 2 hours after the rescue call came in, all of the people had been rescued. 2 of them were treated for minor injuries, including hypothermia. Officials saying it is a warning for people to be extra cautious around frozen water during swings in temperature. Talk about a photo finish at the Los Angeles Marathon.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Nathan Martin, Nathan Martin.
It was the marathon's closest finish ever. It was only about one step that separated first and second place. American Nathan Martin surged at the finish line to pass Michael Kamau of Kenya.
I was waiting for you to tell me who won.
Wow. Yeah, it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
I am just impressed that he had that much energy at the end of a marathon.
Sprint right at the end.
Incredible. And the second place runners probably
devastating.
going, oh, I've been leading this whole way. And I also heard that it was very hot. The marathon was like 30 degrees. So incredible, these feats of athleticism, right? Okay, on the beaches in California, a large crowd came out to celebrate a local legend who got to hit the waves one last time. Sugar, the surfing dog, got to get on her board and ride one last wave this weekend as she continues her battle with cancer. The 16-year-old former rescue dog went from roaming the streets to becoming a 5-time world dog surf champion and is the first animal ever inducted in the Surfers Hall of Fame. A GoFundMe has been set up to help with Sugar's medical expenses.
What a talented pup.
Wow,
Incredible.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
16 as well.
Yeah, can Lucy go on your paddleboard?
Yes, she can go on my paddleboard, kayaks as well.
Yeah.
Surfing next.
Surfing. That's the next
I'll have to learn how to surf then.
Okay, we'll get to the Sawatsky sign-off in just a moment. First, Lauren, what's coming up tonight?
Well, Mijung, we are continuing to track that Lost Lagoon decision set to be voted on at the Park Board tonight. The $30 million plan to potentially reconnect the lagoon to the seawater. And we will have more on the civil suit against OpenAI filed today from the family of Tumbler Ridge victim Maya Gabala, who is still in Children's Hospital after critical injuries in the February 10th attack. We'll have a closer look at the allegations and what's next in the process.
All right, thanks a lot, Lauren. Just as one man's trash is another's treasure, one person's fence can be another's blank slate. That's how one back alley in New Westminster turned into a pet portrait gallery. Adam explains in tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
Farley and Dijon.
One of the first things Margaret Halsey did when she moved here
I think I want to paint my steps.
was decorate the front entrance with her dogs.
So I wanted people to enjoy them.
Because pets, she says, help make a house a home.
They sure do.
But years later, Margaret wasn't so sure about the prospect of retiring.
It was kind of a bit of a gray period. So I was kind of feeling a bit like, what am I going to do now?
Well, she'd always spent time making art as a hobby. It wasn't until she walked along this back alley that day
I saw this naked fence, like this one.
that Margaret found a new purpose.
And now I knew what I was going to do. I was going to paint dogs on that fence.
So she contacted the fence's owner and offered to paint a portrait of their pet on it, which captured the attention of other people passing.
And so people just kept looking at me and what are you doing? And the dogs kept coming.
Then cats, too. And the more furry faces she painted for others, the more fulfilled Margaret felt herself.
And so just to come out and be, and just to share with the world, and when you're doing that, you forget you were sad.
And you see the positive possibilities, like when Margaret turned this project into a fundraiser, and donations from her pet portraits raised more than $8,000 in support of training local guide dogs.
We all have a skill, a talent. I think we can all benefit other people by sharing that passion.
And now, more than a decade later,
Everybody keeps asking me, when are you going to have another fence?
this back alley animal art gallery has expanded to include a second fence a block away, a couple books telling the stories behind each portrait, and ultimately connected the community through creativity.
Well, there's lots of things that don't make people happy in the world, and I think a dog can always make someone happy.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, New Westminster.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
What an awesome project. There's plenty of unpainted fences in Metro Vancouver.
And we can send her a list. Pups as well.
Send her a picture of Lucy.
Done and done. Come on over to my neighborhood. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. Mostly sunny skies above Crescent Beach in Surrey. Thanks, Ulo, for this beautiful photo. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Very nice. But of course, winter not over yet.
Yeah, no. Wait for tomorrow's pictures.
All right, thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.
Good night.